Hey everyone, welcome back to my vlog again. So today I want to talk about something that I think many people secretly struggle with. What is that? That was is I always face in every single day. The overthinking. Honestly, overthinking is one of the most exhausting things mentally because sometimes your body is resting, but your mind never truly stops. Thoughts keep repeating, questions keep appearing, small situations suddenly become huge inside your head, and honestly, sometimes it feels impossible to silence your own mind. I think many people do not realize how tiring overthinking actually is. From the outside, someone may look completely calm, but internally, their thoughts are running nonstop, replying conversations themselves repeated that just imagining worst case scenarios, questioning themselves repeatedly. And honestly, that mental exhaustion can become overwhelming. One thing I notice about overthinking is how it often begins with very small things. The short replay wait. You like short replay, a strange tone in conversation, a mistake, an awkward moment. And suddenly, the mind starts creating endless possibilities. Did I say something wrong? Did they secretly dislike me? What if I embarrass myself? What if everything goes badly? And honestly, sometimes the situation itself is not even that serious, but the mind keeps expanding it emotionally. Another difficult thing about overthinking is that it steals peace from the present moments. Instead of enjoying what is happening right now, the mind becomes trapped in worries about the future or regrets about the past. And honestly, that can make life feel emotionally heavy. Because even peaceful moments become difficult to fully enjoy when the mind refuses to relax. I also realize that overthinking often comes from fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of disappointment, for fear of uncertainty. And honestly, humans naturally want to control our life. But life is unpredictable. And overthinkers often struggle because they try to mentally prepare for every possible outcome, even the situation that may never happen. Another thing I notice is that overthinking becomes stronger at night. During the day, distraction help people stay busy, but at night, silence gives thoughts more space to go. And honestly, the nighttime overthinking feels so different, more massive. Small worries suddenly feel massive. Memories return more emotionally. Future fears become louder. I think many people just have experience lying in bed feeling physically tired, but mentally that's different. That's unable to breathe. And honestly, that feeling is exhausting. Another difficult thing about overthinking is how it creates self-doubt. Overthinkers often question themselves constantly. Their discussion, their just decisions, their words, their appearance, their future. And after some time, that constant self-questioning damages confidence slowly, because the mind keeps searching for problems even when everything is okay. I also think overthinking affects relationship deeply. Sometimes overthinker becomes more afraid of bothering people, afraid of saying the wrong thing, afraid of being misunderstood, afraid of becoming emotionally too much. And honestly, those fears can make communication harder. Sometimes overthinkers stay silent not because they do not care, but because they are thinking too much about everything. Really. And you know what? Another thing about overthinking is how emotionally draining it feels to replay old situations repeatedly, especially embarrassing moments or mistakes. Sometimes the mind brings back memories from years randomly. And honestly, it feels strange how humans can still feel embarrassed about the things nobody else even remembers anymore. But overthinking makes old emotion feel fresh again. I also realized that many overthinkers are emotionally sensitive people. They notice detail deeply, they think carefully about words, and they feel emotions strongly. And honestly, sensitivity itself is not weakness, but without balance, it can become mentally exhausting, because emotionally sensitive people often absorb stress more intensely. Another thing I learned is that overthinking just creates problem twice. First, the actual situation happens. Then the mind keeps replying it repeatedly afterward. And honestly, sometimes the mental replay becomes more painful than the original situation itself. I think overthinking also comes from wanting reassurance constantly, wanting certainty, wanting clarity, wanting emotional safety. But life rarely gives complete certainty. And honestly, learn to live with uncertainty is difficult for our thinker, because the mind always wants answer immediately. Another thing I notice is that overthinking can make simple decisions feel stressful. Small choice suddenly becomes significantly. What if I choose wrong? What if I regret it later? What if this changed everything? And honestly, constant over-analysis can become emotionally paralyzing. Sometimes people become so afraid of making mistakes that they stop moving forward completely. I also think social media makes overthinking worse sometimes. People compare themselves constantly, analyze their appearance, and question their progress in life. And honestly, seeing other people highlight moments every day can make insecure thoughts grow faster, especially for people who already overanalyze themselves too much. Another difficult thing about overthinking is emotional exhaustion, not physical exhaustion. Mental exhaustion, the kind where your brain feels tired from carrying too many thoughts for too long. And honestly, people who overthink heavily often struggle to truly relax. Even during rest, the minds keep working. Another thing I learned is that overthinking often destroys situations that could have been simple. Sometimes people assume negative things without real evidence, and sometimes creates imaginary problems. And honestly, the mind can become its own source of stress. That is why emotional balance matters so much. I also realize that overthinkers are often hardest on themselves. They just criticize themselves deeply, analyze mistakes repeatedly, and expect the perfection from themselves emotional. And honestly, living under constant self-pressure becomes exhausting because humans are imperfect naturally. Mistakes are normal, awkward moments are normal, uncertainty is normal. But overthinking makes imperfection feel bigger than they actually are. Another thing about overthinking is how lonely it can feel. Because sometimes it is difficult to explain mental exhaustion to other people. From the outside, nothing seems wrong, but internally the mind feels crowded constantly. And honestly, invisible struggle are still real struggle. I think one important thing overthinkers need to learn is self-compassion. Not every mistake needs endless punishment. Not every awkward moment defines your value. Not every fail deserves complete control over your emotions. And honestly, invisible struggle are still real struggle. I think one important thing our thinkers need to learn is self-compassion. That's the point. You know, like, yeah, not every mistake needs endless punishment. Not every awkward moment defines your value. And not every fear deserves complete control over your emotions. And honestly, people deserve kindness from themselves too. I just realized peace often begins when people stop trying to control everything mentally. Because honestly, no amount of overthinking can fully protect people from uncertainty. Life will still surprise us, mistakes will still happen, unexpected situations will still appear. And maybe part of emotional growth is learning how to live without needing complete control all the time. I also learned that thoughts are not always fact. Just because the mind imagines something negative does not mean it is true. And honestly, remembering that can help calm anxious thoughts sometimes. Another thing about the healing from overthinking is learning how to stay present, focusing on what is real right now instead of endless what if scenario. Because many fears only exist inside the mind, not in the reality. At the end of the day, I think overthinking happens because humans care deeply. They care about people, about the future, about being accepted, about avoiding pain. And honestly, caring deeply is not a bad thing. But people also deserve a peace. They deserve rest from constant mental noise. So if you're someone who overthinks a lot, I just want to remind you of this. You do not need to solve your entire life overnight. Not every thought deserves your energy, not every fear deserves your trust. Sometimes the healthiest thing can you do is breathe, slow down, and allow yourself to exist without analyzing everything. And honestly, your mind deserves peace too. Thank you for watching this vlog and see you in the next video. Bye bye.